I can't believe people play with people's intelligence the way they play with people's intelligence and intellect, you know, the way they do today. You know, people are telling lies for a living. You know what I mean? They actually...
You know what's a sucker to me? A sucker is a nigga who pick who he be fight with.
Right.
Like if you sit and you go, oh, I'm not going because this
I won't fuck with him, but I'll fuck with this one.
Yeah, I think I can take him.
Right.
You want to fight the nigga you think you can beat.
And I called Jay Prince and them out. I'm saying,
Yes,
fuck
you
you.
do.
You didn't say nothing to whack. So when you come talking to me, I feel like you're very selective. This is exactly what I meant last week when I was talking about street niggas being selective.
Jay Prince is threatening 50 Cent after 50 called out Big Meech and kept tossing that rat label on his name. While 50 Cent did not explicitly use the term rat, his social media posts heavily implied such a narrative, prompting immediate backlash and sparking widespread debate. The timing of the posts appears deliberate, coinciding with his renewed interest in producing crime-related docuseries. Critics argue that 50 may be using controversy to fuel content, while supporters defend his right to speak candidly. However, the issue escalated quickly when Houston power broker Jay Prince appeared to take the allegations personally, given his long-standing relationship with Big Meech and his role in maintaining certain codes of conduct within the street-influenced sectors of the music industry. 50 Cent's calculated provocation didn't just stir online reactions. It struck a nerve with figures who are both culturally and reputationally entrenched in the values of loyalty and honor among street associates. As online discourse exploded, the situation veered away from typical entertainment feuds and entered territory laced with real-world implications, including potential retaliation and fractured alliances within hip-hop's upper echelons. Following 50 Cent's controversial statements regarding Big Meech, Houston mogul Jay Prince responded, not with a direct confrontation, but with the kind of veiled messaging that's long characterized his influence in hip-hop and street politics. Known for his control over Houston's music scene and deep connections within underground circles, Jay Prince is not someone whose warnings are taken lightly. Allegedly offended by 50's insinuations, Prince issued indirect comments through interviews and social posts that many interpreted as thinly veiled threats. In response, 50 Cent remained unfazed, posting a cryptic clip from the movie Training Day, implying he's prepared for war. This move wasn't just about image, it signaled that 50 was willing to challenge someone whose name carries weight far beyond music. Analysts note that Jay Prince has been linked to numerous behind-the-scenes interventions over the years, often stepping in to de-escalate or control narratives before they spiral. His approach to conflict tends to rely on coded language and reputation rather than overt aggression, making his involvement here all the more concerning. As their digital exchange unfolded, the hip-hop community watched closely, aware that any escalation could spill over into real-world consequences. The silent tension between these two influential men has become more than a matter of words. It's now a strategic showdown between legacy, street respect, and media mastery. The story takes a deeper turn when the conversation moves from words to the murky realities of street politics, specifically the controversial practice known as checking in. In hip-hop, this term refers to the expectation that visiting artists must notify and pay respect to local figures when traveling to cities like Houston. Critics argue this system resembles organized extortion, while defenders claim it's a matter of safety and community etiquette. At the center of this debate is the Prince family, particularly Jay Prince Jr., who is rumored to host private dice games involving high-profile rappers and entertainers. Allegations have surfaced, suggesting these games are not only rigged but serve as traps to financially exploit outsiders. Some insiders claim loaded dice, and inside knowledge ensure that visitors lose. And the house, allegedly tied to the Prince family, profits. These rumors reached fever pitch following the deaths of Duke the Jeweler and Migos member Takeoff, both of whom were reportedly present at such events shortly before their deaths. While there is no official connection between these deaths and any illegal activity, the optics have fueled intense speculation and distrust. This part of the story suggests a darker undercurrent, one where the blending of entertainment and street culture may create dangerous outcomes for artists who believe they're entering a circle of influence, but instead find themselves caught in a high-stakes game they never signed up for. Takeoff's tragic death during a late-night gathering in Houston sent shockwaves through the hip-hop world, and it remains a haunting backdrop to the broader story involving the Prince family. Reports confirm that Takeoff was killed outside a private event attended by multiple figures linked to the Houston music scene, including J. Prince Jr. Though the suspect, Patrick Xavier Clark, has been indicted for the shooting, many have raised eyebrows over the legal proceedings, particularly Clark's surprising release from house arrest under what appear to be lenient conditions. This has led to growing public suspicion that influence may be shielding certain individuals from accountability. Adding to the intrigue, defense attorneys argue that Clark was merely a bystander and not responsible for the fatal shot, further muddying the already complex narrative. The broader community has begun to question how so many tragic incidents appear to circle back to the same environment: high-profile dice games, elite industry figures, and a culture of silence. While no direct blame has been legally placed on J. Prince Jr., the combination of circumstantial evidence and public perception has put a significant cloud over his name. This development has intensified calls for transparency and accountability in an industry that often operates in the gray area between fame and street loyalty, highlighting how unresolved deaths continue to haunt the culture and shake public trust. The controversy deepens as past incidents involving J. Prince resurface, including a notable 2020 altercation involving NBA YoungBoy. After YoungBoy's property was reportedly stolen in Houston, J. Prince claimed to have recovered the items, posting about it publicly. Rather than expressing gratitude, YoungBoy accused Prince of leveraging the situation for control, calling it a disguised shakedown. The altercation was one of the first public challenges to Prince's long-standing reputation for protection and influence. More recently, artists like Cameron and Ma Dollar E have criticized Prince's tactics, describing them as outdated and reliant on a culture of fear rather than mutual respect. They accused Prince of hiding behind younger artists like Shakur Stevenson, whom he manages, instead of addressing issues head-on. These critiques, especially coming from veterans who've seen the evolution of hip-hop's power dynamics, strike at the core of Prince's credibility. With more voices echoing similar concerns and recounting patterns of manipulation disguised as mentorship, the narrative has started to shift. It's no longer just 50 Cent against J. Prince. It's a chorus of dissent against what some see as an outdated model of dominance. This broader scrutiny has opened the door to reevaluating Prince's role in the industry and whether the community still views him as a protector or a gatekeeper standing in the way of progress. While many artists might back down when facing off against someone with J. Prince's reputation, 50 Cent seems to thrive on exactly this kind of tension. Known for his long history of turning real-life conflict into commercially successful content, 50 is perhaps one of the most media-savvy figures in hip-hop. From his infamous beef with Ja Rule to public spats with Floyd Mayweather, The Game, and even his own G-Unit members, 50 has made a career of transforming controversy into headlines, and those headlines into dollars. His Instagram page functions like a digital battlefield, where memes, sarcasm, and strategic jabs build anticipation and engagement. Now, industry insiders speculate that he may be laying the groundwork for a full-scale content rollout aimed at the Prince family. Whether it's a docuseries, a dramatized show, or a wave of cryptic Instagram posts, 50 appears to be building narrative momentum. And this isn't just clout chasing. His television empire through stars has shown that he knows how to package real stories into digestible, binge-worthy content. If he decides to dive into the story of Big Meech, street extortion, and unchecked influence in Houston, the result could reshape public perception, not just of the Prince legacy, but of how hip-hop power is portrayed in modern media. Unlike most rappers, 50 doesn't fight in the streets. He fights in the comments, the cameras, and the content. And that makes him especially dangerous in an era where public opinion can be swayed with a single viral moment. The growing rift between 50 Cent and J. Prince reflects more than just personal animosity. It marks a generational and cultural collision between two very different visions of power in hip-hop. J. Prince symbolizes the old-school era of influence, one rooted in silence, intimidation, and territorial control. His name has long been spoken in hushed tones, often followed by words like respect and fear. But in today's landscape, where attention is currency and perception is everything, traditional methods of dominance are rapidly losing traction. 50 Cent, on the other hand, embodies the modern blueprint, using algorithms, virality, and storytelling to build power that doesn't depend on physical presence or direct confrontation. This divide has created a broader conversation within the industry. Can figures like J. Prince continue to command respect in a culture that now values transparency, engagement, and content over silence and hierarchy? Younger artists, fans, and media outlets are increasingly questioning whether the fear-based respect of the past still holds weight in the age of social media exposure. Meanwhile, legacy players like Prince may find themselves on the defensive, forced to protect not just their name, but their relevance. As this narrative unfolds, it's becoming clear that this isn't just about 50 and Prince. It's about who controls the future of hip-hop influence, and whether that future will be decided in boardrooms or behind closed doors, in memes or meetings, in silence or in the spotlight. As the tension continues to rise, ripple effects are beginning to spread across the hip-hop ecosystem, dividing artists, fans, and industry figures alike. Allegiances are being tested, and many are finding themselves forced to choose sides, either backing a legacy figure like J. Prince or siding with 50 Cent, who represents the disruptive voice of modern media. What makes this situation more volatile is the emotional undercurrent surrounding the deaths of figures like Takeoff and Duke the Jeweler. These aren't just names, they're reminders of real-world loss that add weight to what might otherwise be dismissed as industry gossip. Some artists have remained silent, likely wary of getting involved, while others are subtly aligning themselves through interviews, social media activity, or behind-the-scenes alliances. At the same time, fans have taken to forums and comment sections, analyzing every post, clip, and lyric for signs of deeper meaning. The hip-hop community thrives on narrative tension, but when that tension mirrors unresolved trauma and deep-rooted suspicions, it stops being entertainment and becomes something far more serious. The longer the conflict simmers, the more it threatens to reshape the internal politics of the industry. Will artists feel safe collaborating across camps? Will labels take sides? And will media coverage fan the flames or force a resolution? One thing is certain, the fallout has already begun, and its impact will be measured not just in headlines, but in broken alliances, missed opportunities, and the increasing difficulty of keeping the culture united. As this narrative unfolds, both 50 Cent and J. Prince are locked in a battle not just for dominance, but for credibility in the eyes of the public. For 50 Cent, the stakes revolve around whether his provocations are seen as truth-telling or reckless antagonism. He positions himself as a fearless exposer of uncomfortable realities, someone who can't be bought, silenced, or intimidated. For J. Prince, the concern is different, preserving a carefully curated image of respect, loyalty, and legacy. But as more rumors surface and more artists challenge his authority, cracks begin to show in the mythos that has surrounded him for decades. Social media has democratized perception, allowing everyday fans to question narratives once protected by silence and street reputation. In this new environment, charisma and visibility often outweigh silence and mystique. Every post, podcast appearance, or documentary tease becomes ammunition in the war for public trust. Analysts note that credibility today is measured not by who you know, but by how you control your story and who listens when you speak. For both men, this battle represents a high-stakes effort to shape how future generations view them. Will 50 Cent be remembered as a truth-seeking disruptor or a chaos merchant? Will J. Prince's image survive an era where nothing stays buried for long? In a world where perception shapes power, both men know that winning the crowd is more important than ever before. The central question looming over this entire saga is deceptively simple. What happens next? Does this story escalate into a full-blown media war, complete with exposés, documentaries, and diss tracks? Or does it quietly fizzle? Another momentary flashpoint in a culture increasingly desensitized to outrage. Those close to the situation warn that neither man is likely to back down. 50 Cent has already demonstrated his willingness to push narratives to their limits, especially when there's an audience paying attention. J. Prince, meanwhile, is unlikely to tolerate what he perceives as disrespect without consequence. Yet, as both sides maneuver, there's a growing realization that the old rules no longer apply. The industry is evolving, and what once required quiet power plays now demands public explanation and constant engagement. Whether this tension ends with one side dominating or both figures retreating into more guarded silence, the damage may already be done. Trust has eroded, lines have been drawn, and the community, once governed by unwritten rules and silent codes, is now navigating a very public reckoning. As fans and insiders alike watch for the next move, one thing is clear: this isn't just a clash between two men. It's a moment that may define how power, loyalty, and legacy are understood in hip-hop going forward. Whether it ends with a bang or a whisper, the culture will not emerge unchanged.